Alrighty, Ian. So I have your video right now side by side with a guy by the name of Mike Trout. Okay, so Mike Trout plays in the major leagues, and he plays for a team called the Los Angeles Angels. He is arguably one of the greatest hitters of all time. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play your mechanics right next to Mike Trout's, and we're gonna kind of go into the differences between y'all's swing. And then we're going to talk about what we're going to be working on the next lessons and really how we're going to kind of analyze our swing going forward. So I'm going to play these side by side and then we'll talk about it real quick. So, starting off real quick, if we want to take a look at Mike Trout's front knee and what we did in this video and also what we did last lesson. So, if you remember, Ian, what we were doing in last lesson was we started picking up our leg and going back and then coming around, and then also that would then cause our top half to open up to the left side here, right? I want you to take a look at what Mike Trout does with his knee, and this is kind of what we were talking about in the last lesson, what the importance of with our front leg whenever we load, right? So notice when Mike Trout comes up with his knee, right? What he does is he picks it up and then sets it right back down, but he's always making progress towards the pitcher, right? And if you notice, what he does is he stays connected and stays through the middle of his swing, right? So whenever we swing, we want to think about our shoulders and our hips going straight towards the pitcher mound, okay? So that's going to be a big thing to work on, right? And that's just going to take time. And we actually made some really great strides in the last lesson of really getting ourselves a step towards towards the pitcher mound, and really keeping our shoulders in whenever we swing, right? Because whenever we open up, we call this tornado, right? So that's the very first thing. The second thing that I want to talk about is watch Mike Trout's bat path, right? Because you asked a great question last lesson, which is, well, Coach Max, whenever I swing, I hit the barrel of the bat, but then I pop it up, right? So what's happening is, take a look at your swing real quick, right? So what's happening is we're dropping our hands right here, okay? And then from there, our bat is having to come almost down. And then in order to get some lift on the ball, it's having to come right back up, right? And that's where either you're going to get one of two things that happen. The first thing that you're going to get is that the ball is going to be popped up in the air. And the second thing is it's going to be topped and hit into the ground, okay? So those are the two things that can happen with that. I want you to take a look at what Mike Trout does. Take a look at his bat. His hands never drop. Instead, what they do is, if we go back to our little saying that we had in last lesson, connection right there. So at this point, Mike Trout connects with his elbow to his rib cage, and then he extends out towards the baseball right here, okay? So that is what connection to extension means and how we get the bat to the baseball to create lift on the ball and really get those line drive hits that we're looking for, Ian, okay? The last part that I want to talk about is I want you to take a look at Mike Trout's lower half, okay? Take a look at yours. Notice for yours, right, when we get here, we kind of stay stagnant. And what I mean by stagnant is we really don't do much, right? If you notice, yes, we turn this back side, this back leg right here, which is really great, Ian, that you're doing that, by the way. But take a look at what Mike Trout does, right? So notice, remember this 45-degree angle that we're talking about, right, in last lesson, this 45-degree angle. And what he does with his hips and his lower half is that he turns into the baseball, and it's really, really powerful, right? So he uses his lower half efficiently to also create more power, okay? So what this means for our next lessons, Ian, so the big things that we're going to work on is we're going to continue to work on this lower half, okay? And we're going to work on really getting it to work, okay? I really want us to get to a point where we're really, really getting great at using our lower half and being able to create more power with it, right? Because what's happening right now with you, Ian, is you're using a lot of your upper half to try to create that power when there's so much more in the tank if we just use our bottom half, okay? So that's the first thing we're going to work on. The second thing that we're going to work on is taking our weight and our momentum towards the pitcher mound, okay? And all that simply is is what we worked on in this lesson right here, which is where we ride this line all the way down, okay? And the last thing that we're going to work on is this upper half here, especially with your hands, of getting it to where we're creating a really great bat path that we can trust ourselves to get lift on the ball without trying to force it, okay? So that's kind of our game plan for the next few lessons, and especially kind of going forward for these lessons, and just a little bit to kind of show you what the difference is between where we want our swing to get to and where your swing is right now. So I hope this video really helped. And obviously, Ian, if you have any questions about this video, feel free to ask next lesson. But keep working hard and look forward to next lesson.